Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Good to see you. The Nigerian social media space is currently reeling from an explosive saga involving actress Doris Ogala and Pastor Chris Okafor of the Mountain of Liberation and Miracle Ministry. Ogala, that's the actress, has officially served the cleric a 1 billion naira legal notice, alleging a breach of promise to marry after a relationship that reportedly spanned 9 years. The drama peaked this week when Pastor Okafor moved forward with his wedding to another woman despite Ogala's public threats to disrupt the ceremony. As if the legal drama wasn't enough, the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has stepped into a separate firestorm, condemning the title of actress Ini Edo's new film, A Very Dirty Christmas, and demanding an apology. So with the intersection of faith, law, and Nollywood, where does this sharp edge fall on this billionaire heartbreak? Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor, hit like, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We're getting started. We have a fantastic show lined up for you, and we will be right back. Welcome back, sir. So we have this crazy story, and it's been going viral for the past maybe a week or so. I haven't had a chance to discuss it on our sister channel, but I thought we should talk about it today. And apparently, this lady, she's accusing him of not marrying him. She busted out in tears, started crying. Where are you going to leave me? Where do you want to push me? What happened to me? And she started crying that he cannot go and marry somebody else. Then I'm finding out that this man actually has some history with scandals and stuff like that. But that's it right there. I wanted to hear your analysis on it. What do you have to say about this story? And by extension, this is one of the people that kind of supposed to be taken care of, or be holding accountable, if you will. But somehow they are busy handling issues or mixing issues with Ini Edo and the title of her movie. Welcome back, sir.
Good to be back, Ola. Thank you very much. You raised them certain pertinent issues about the intersection between the crisis of the relationship, the failed relationship between Doris Ogala, Chris Okafor, because really I'm struggling to
call him a pastor.
To title him a pastor right now.
Oh, wow.
And the other vexed matter of Ini Edo and the Christian Association of Nigeria demanding change to a title or some kind of promotional tag of Dirty Christmas, and then etc., etc. The issue is that, number one, let me first call out the body of Christ in Nigeria, the Christian Association of Nigeria, to tread with care and proceed with caution, so that Christianity in Nigeria does not begin to wear the tag of Christian Talibanism. Because, yes, Christianity in history, yes, at some point, it became almost the emblematic of extreme control, all kinds of gory, extreme display. I mean, unbridled enthusiasm to enforce the faith, leading to so much massacre and stepping out of line with what Jesus would have done as the consciousness of the faith. He himself did not call it Christianity. He just pointed out the contradictions of practices on the part of religious leaders of the day. And in his time, you had the Pharisees, you had the Sadducees, and probably the scribes. The Pharisees basically were talking of resurrection. The Sadducees were cynics about belief in a resurrection. And then the scribes, people like you and I, journalists, educated intellectuals, and what have you, who would want to scrutinize the entire thing. So Jesus was always looking at the contradictions in leadership, hypocrisy, and high-class pretenses of religious leaders. So, since when did Nigeria become a place where the freedom of expression, creativity, and all that is now becoming so endangered? I mean, when Muslims were pushing such envelopes in the past in Nigeria, everybody spoke up. Famously, people like Professor Wole Soyinka, people like now Bishop Emeritus Emmanuel Bolanle Bonigi, I mean, somebody that was well known in the Anglican Communion as a leader of in terms of liberation theology. And so on, the late Archbishop Abiodun Adetiloye, even retired Bishop Jasper Akinola, these were well-respected Anglican primates. They stood against such reckless display in terms of academic freedom and intellectual expression in the country. Unlike people like Sheikh Gumi and so many other people that would just sit in the corner of their room with ill-digested theories or belief system that would just pass fatwa, death penalty, on anybody except the privileged in the society. So what am I saying here? Dirty Christmas. As Christmas never, Christmas has always been synonymous with all kinds of practices bordering on consumerism, outright exploitation of the poor, idolization of icons and symbols unrelated to the circumstance of the birth and the mission of Jesus Christ on earth.
Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm.
Yes, he came to set the captives free. He himself paraphrased a passage from the book of prophet Isaiah. But when you look at Gospel according to St. Luke chapter 4, it's expressly stated there without any ambiguity. And that's where it is said that people may have life and that they truly may have it abundantly. And so everything that has been done to make subaltern people of the world victims during Christmas. Let us even get micro about Nigeria itself. Isn't this the period when there will be a spike? Possibly. But for the consciousness that is out there now that Nigeria must rise to the challenge of runaway criminal indexes. During Christmas, goats will be missing in remote villages. All kinds of stuff. Bands will be looted, yams stolen, and all kinds. And then you go into the market. It's settled. A Nigerian celebrity was speaking of half fixing her hair braids for 70,000 naira a few weeks ago. Today, that same hair braids will be fixed for 200,000 naira plus in Nigeria. Is that not dirty Christmas? So because it is Ini Edo, the Christian Association of Nigeria is excited. The Christian Association of Nigeria that cannot really man up and speak with a voice concerning targeted killings against a section of the Christian community in Nigeria. It is true that Muslims get killed. Even a few weeks back, I was listening to a recent interview by the revered Dr. Yemi Farombi, veteran broadcaster, journalist, diplomat, exemplary leader in Nigeria, statesman, talking of a Muslim praying in a mosque in Kano. Another Muslim who felt this was a Muslim with inferior belief system went after him and killed him right there. And there are situations in which people without any kind of religious beliefs get killed as well. So much about dirty Christmas. But at any turn of major celebrations of faith festivals in Nigeria, you find this craze, whether during Eid celebrations, Easter celebration, harvest season, harvest Thanksgiving season, Christmas, New Year. Nigerians can be so crazy, especially the uncontrolled tradespeople on the fringe of the society, and also multinational trading outlets too. They all do it. So there is dirty Christmas. That is the reality. And the Christian Association of Nigeria should sort that up and stop harassing Ini Edo. Now we come back to the issue of Chris Ogala and embattled
Doris Ogala and Pastor
Doris
Chris.
Ogala and Pastor or Chris Okafor. Honestly, these are interesting times. Best of times to live in, worst of times to live in. Apologies to the author of Great Expectations, the well-known British classical work, I think by late Charles Dickens. Now, why am I saying this? For a while now, the self-evident hypocrisy and falsehood that are often paraded by Christian leaders in Nigeria is now being spotlighted. It's now being brought under
the microscope.
Yes, it's been amplified. And you can't blame them totally, the contemporary Christian leaders or religious leaders in Nigeria, Muslim, Christian, traditional African faithfuls solely. It's always in their DNA, the foundational exaggerations and hyperboles that were pushed. For example, we all live as mortals. We are all frail and susceptible to the reality of being alive as human beings, but we love to play angels. This is simply the problem. Face the reality of your being human and that you are alive, present, and you are a material entity. This is who you are, but you really want to play the angelic card most times. And the things that you do not do in your private space, you continue to mouth it just because of some ill-digested doctrines, some dodges, and what have you. This is the crux of the matter. We are all susceptible to some of these things, but as leaders within religious circles, there must be extra caution and that presence of mind not to be led into temptation and to be delivered from evil. That is what, to me, it would look like Chris Okafor for a long time has played the card of a Casanova, a playboy. And you find it all over the world. In America here, we witnessed a situation, I think somewhere in Ohio, where a loudmouth pastor was the most vociferous in condemning alternative sex lifestyle until a male prostitute came out to say that, oh, this guy lives in a closet, and outed him that he is homosexual. And so even within the circle of heterosexuals, you find all these things happening.
Yeah.
You find it happening. And which is why, not just with Chris Okafor is just...
he's a little boy in the grand scheme of things.
Yes. How about the pretenses as to, concerning celibacy, self-imposed what do you call it, stuff in the Catholic Church.
I mean,
he said,
just to round up this story, right? Because we're going to come back to it.
Yes.
They barely, in this whole story, we barely talked about fornication, something that used to be such a big deal, right? We barely talked about fornication. Adultery is now the norm of the day. The pastors,
it's not the norm. Here is the problem, Ola. The problem is this: the leadership of Christian churches push it on the congregation. Do not fornicate. Do not go into adultery. But what do they themselves do when they are left alone? Which is why I was mentioning the hypocrisy of the Catholic Church sometimes too, where people say they are celibate. You find them doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
to the extent of with children, to the extent of outright criminal behavior, basically.
That's right. Same-sex issues at times, molestation of children, children who just came to serve as innocent altar boys, being violated on all fronts. And this has always been there, which is why I mentioned the issue of Christianity being careful, not drifting into a kind of Talibanistic mentality. I mean, one thing people should learn, people should do, should study the history of whatever they believe in. At the time, of what's the name of this guy? John Calvin, when he set up his evangelical reformation in those days, a child nearly rolled his eyes. Hear this, Christians of the world. A child nearly rolled his eyes at his father, and death sentence, equivalent of Islamic fatwa, was passed on him, and the head was chopped off. You find churches operating on the mode, and everybody teaching all kinds of stuff in the church today in Bible studies. They don't remember the excesses of John Calvin and his movement in Geneva in those days. So finally, who would save this generation? What can save this generation? It's taking the voice of a little known social media prophet. Dark man.
Very dark man.
Very dark man. And so on and so forth. Look at the way the entire cavalry of the police in Nigeria is being moved to protect all these privileged
people,
riffraffs and charlatans calling themselves religious leaders. The question I ask, what would Jesus do in this situation? Would Jesus not have taken that 2x2 plank and smashed the old damn high-stake criminality being pushed as solidarity among Christian churches? Matthew Ashimolowo attended that forum. Look at the list of who is who among the so-called God's general everywhere. Cavorting and celebrating stupidity and the denigration of a woman. But you can also blame all of them, because from some of the confessions of Doris Ogala herself, she's been a willing tool in all that they have done together until they burn themselves out. But adultery is adultery. Why play on the emotion of somebody you don't want to marry? And we find it concerning women at times too. They will still be in a relationship that is unresolved. And then you find them, they are the ones that would easily accuse men of adultery, fornication, and all that. But they themselves, they do it. They don't resolve existing relationships fully. They want to step into another one. People should be bold enough to be who they are. And from what the daughter to Chris Okafor is threatening to say now, maybe she has already spoken with a very dark man. We do not know. We want to know the kind of person, the kind of father.
Today they said it was allegedly was on his knees and begging and saying, please move on with your life. That's what he had to say. After Very Dark Man had given a 72-hour ultimatum to either release or else, and now they didn't make it to even 48 hours. So,
and I think Doris Ogala has been released from police detention already. The deal is that that kind of self-serving kneeling to beg to move on and all that. It's not that easy. We're talking of emotional frustration and stress, betrayal. You said what?
No. It was Chris that was begging, that was on his knees.
I know, that is what I'm saying. It's so easy. But where is it coming from? Somebody that has been established to be a serial fraud among the Christian leadership, not just in sexual relationships, and the way that we are finding out now, how people arrange miracles, how they just casually go to bed with everyone else. If it is not going to be acceptable on the part of those of us who are members of the laity in the church, that is the ordinary folks in the church, why should the altar also be desecrated from time to time this way? And then you find solidarity amongst people who should call out sin as what sin is. But you know, I'm not a pastor, just focusing on the issues and letting it serve the society in a better and equitable way. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Everybody, please leave your comments, join the conversation. We'd like to hear your thoughts on this. We want to hear your thoughts on this so we can speak a little bit more to the conversations. Welcome back. Do us a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. We'll be right back with some other trendy stories around the world. Back. Let's talk about Donald Trump and this EPSTEIN files. The long-awaited release of the Jeffrey Epstein investigative files has taken a bizarre turn. Over the weekend, the U.S. Department of Justice (DOJ) temporarily removed 16 documents from the public release, most notably a photograph found in Epstein's desk showing President Donald Trump, while Deputy Attorney General Todd Blank insists the removal was strictly to protect potential victims and had nothing to do with the president. Democrats are calling it a White House cover-up. The photo, now restored after public outcry, shows Trump in a white shirt with a group of women, including at least one in a bikini, with survivors slamming the files for being heavily redacted. Photoshop. The question remains, is this true transparency or a strategic edits? Let's hear your analysis on this one, sir.
Thank you very much. The truth of the matter is that what the public represented by the August Congress in the United States, what they are pushing for, simply from what you asked, is transparency and the truth and nothing but the absolute truth. That is what the public is asking for this time around. But you will understand that some of those redacted photographs, when they were first released, you saw former President Bill Clinton there, whose handlers have said that this is not about Bill Clinton, and that no matter how they try to deflect by releasing pictures of people like that, Michael Jackson and so on and so forth, the British investor and billionaire Richard Branson, and so on and so forth. And everybody is suspicious of one thing, and that is the X factor here. Is somebody trying to protect someone who we don't really want to dignify at this point? I think this is what this is about. However, people too are suspecting that because of the semblance of not doing too well in the rating of the public, some of these things are so reasonably chaotic and confusing at this time. You release a piece of information on this. So, I mean, gather the files at a stage and then you remove them, you redact them, and then you release them. Why the inconsistency? Who is trying to take the public for a ride? Who is trying to mess with the mental health stability of a everyday American? These are the issues. However, people think these are distractions from the classification, the extreme agenda of classifying more and more African countries on immigration, crushing stuff out there, making sure that numbers of people coming to the United States from the Black world is really, restricted extremely. That one is there. The war, which we were told would end within 24 hours of coming into office between Ukraine and Russia, is still going on. And there is this possibility that at some point, France or some other European countries may be developing, what's it called? Some warships, ocean-going vessels with nuclear capabilities and what have you, to further position to make Europe stronger in confronting the possibility of further Russian aggression. Because everybody that is a well seasoned student of world history will understand that all these attempts at appeasing the Russian strongman, Vladimir Putin, will not work. From the experience of the incursions that were made during the time of Adolf Hitler. Remember the then British Prime Minister Chamberlain saying, routing for peace at all cost. Peace at all cost. That did not in any way appease the aggression, unbridled aggression of the then German Chancellor Adolf Hitler, hence the Second World War. So everybody thinks trying to appease this man without letting him know that there are consequences for what he has done, the unprovoked war of attrition against Ukraine, would lead to further annexations, further invasions of and violations of other countries in Europe. So all these things are expected to be on the table to occupy the attention of President Donald Trump. But it seems to be playing everybody, that kind of distraction. And look at the escalation of the situation against Venezuela. Unverifiable claims of attacking narcotic ocean-going boats. Nobody could say if this is true or not, but from the body count so far, more than 100 people allegedly or suspects have been annihilated, have been taken out, killed. Some of them visibly, not in a position to do anything after being first attacked or initial attacks on them. And then people come out in violation of rule of engagement of the military, the standard of a military rule of engagement in America, to knock them out, kill them. People are raising all concerns about possibility of war crimes being committed. But take that to the macroeconomic realities of America, the stinging bite of the tariffs, the avoidable tariffs, the needless tariffs that were introduced to just announce Liberation Day in America. Since that agenda was foisted on all of us, have we all felt better? And you can't even rely on statistics coming from the government, what's it called, the data office these days about how this economy is performing. So, it looks like things are being padded, but the president looks at it otherwise. Last week, there was that primetime broadcast to the nation in which the president that had been out of office almost for a year now former President Joe Biden got blamed for the American economic nightmare. Not for once standing up to accept responsibility. And so when you look at everybody trying so hard, whether with the Department of Justice to release, remove, reduct, release, or you are looking at all these things that we have which we have bundled up in this round of analysis, you will understand that we are in for a long what's it called? For a long distance race. And 2026, barely a week away. What is it? It's signaling. It's a year for midterm election. So the blames have to be shifted, distractions, more and more of it will come. And God save all of us. Unless we are paying attention, I think we may be in for a long winter, a situation that will be so tiring, dreary, and draining on all of us. However, President Donald Trump should look at the implication of trying to make America a place only open for certain breed of people or certain race of people. God did not make a mistake in creating a world of rainbow colors: black, white, brown, yellow, all sorts of people. That is the beauty of God's creation. And for somebody to just want to really make sure that the door of opportunities or free movement all over the world is shut against certain group of people, it's just un-American. And I think Mr. Donald Trump can do better. Thank you very much. Hello?
Thank you so much for that analysis. All right, ladies and gentlemen, do us a favor, hit like, share, subscribe, follow, turn up your notifications, and join the conversation. We have some other trendy stories around the world. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So let's talk about the Tinubu Fubara peace deal. I don't know what to call this one, but I'm looking forward to understanding what is going on here. But in a move that has shocked many observers of the Rivers State political crisis, National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu led a high-powered presidential delegation to Port Harcourt this morning with a surprising message, and I quote, "President Tinubu is happy with you." Ribadu praised Governor Fubara for his, and I quote, "responsible leadership," and described Rivers as one of the most peaceful states in the country. This show of support centered around the resumption of oil exploration in Ogoni land, marks a dramatic shift in the federal tone toward Fubara, with the Minister of Works, David Umahi, also promising 200 billion naira in road projects for the region. It appears a new alliance is forming. Chief, is this a genuine olive branch for peace? Remember, what was it like? So
there is no olive branch to be extended to anybody here. Rather, is a sense of victory lap and
what
declaration of
what victory are we talking about?
Victory lap, the complete takeover of strategic River State by the ruling government, APC, political party in Nigeria. Remember, until 2 weeks ago, Simlaye Fubara was a PDP elected governor.
Yes.
And since, sometimes I think the wisest people always do best when they play the card of a fool. I think that is what's in Fubara. You know, he didn't talk after the so-called reconciliations until decisively, a certain number of lawmakers who were instead of acting at the behest of now reduced in influence and size and the ego, Chief Wike, he was their puppeteer in those days to just make the place not easily governable for Fubara. So now Fubara reading the card possibly correctly after majority of those lawmakers have declared their movement for APC, decided also to now follow them there ahead of Jesse Wike. Jesse Wike is almost like a political orphan at the moment. Everybody knew
he has no home.
That, yes, it's almost like that Noah's dove that could find no place to perish after the flood of the early days of human existence. The point I'm making here is that Wike is fluid right now. He cannot even be too sure that he will be protected by the federal might with which is operated with impunity up to the moment Sim Fubara declared for the ruling APC. So this is why I said the National Security Advisor to the President, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, should just have declared simply, okay, we have accomplished a takeover of River State, strategic oil producing place, strategic political, what's it called? A strategic political landscape. Now we are reeling in a sense of triumph, and this is mission accomplished. Simple to go there now to say, oh, the president is happy with you, and what's it called? The Minister of Works declaring, oh, we are going to give you 200 billion naira worth of road construction and all that and what have you. It's proving one thing: a deliberate and selfish agenda to weaken opposition politics in Nigeria, and the place is beginning to look like Museveni's Uganda. They are propping up Tinubu as if anyway, don't let me say so much, because there are good things about Tinubu's administration too, just that a majority of it is not reflecting in the quality of life being lived by the Nigerian masses at the moment. And until that begins to really show, thousands of similar Fubara can decamp to the ruling party, like so many, more than 30 states are now controlled, or about 30 states are now being controlled by the ruling APC. It's never been that really ridiculous in Nigeria. But understand that this is not a new script. Whether you're talking of First Republic Nigeria, Second Republic Nigeria, people would always come. And I think it was the late old Ondo State Governor, Mr. Bamidele Ishola Olumilua, that used to talk of politics of inclusion. But this inclusivity that all these opposition governors who have now become part of the ruling party in Nigeria, I think they are the kind of inclusion in the federal game that they wanted has been taken to a ludicrous, absurd, and irresponsible extreme. I do not know how anybody can continue to celebrate the fact that Nigeria is standing tall as the voice of Africa anymore. And people These are what they get in political leadership at times. Let us look at the way this will play out ultimately for all of us. Let us look at where all this will lead. Even look at the quality of ambassadors. They are screening the other day. People just come, take a bow, and they go. How about temperament and all kinds of stuff? So we have all these people there. What is the level of their expertise? How well can they really discuss what is available in Nigeria? Is it one of them that will go there to say, Nigeria will need to borrow and borrow its way out of debt? I do not understand the screening process anymore in Nigeria. And then look at the ongoing controversy about what was supposed to be new tax policy in Nigeria and what has been gazetted for the people, which everybody is questioning. Nobody is focused on that. They now go to Simlaye Fubara to declare victory. Mr. President is happy with you. Happy with you for doing what? After humiliating him and all, but nobody can fight the battle of Simlaye Fubara.
I guess it could have been worse, right? It could have been worse.
It was
days, we won't be saying this.
He was virtually routed and made so helpless. So he had nowhere to turn to. And he's been saying all kinds of stuff from all sides of his mouth since then. I wasn't really part of PDP and all that. Since when? Spare me all this kind of...
That's why I want to ask you this question, sir. So yes. Where is Wike with regards to this guy's defection to the ruling party? Where does he stand?
That is what I'm telling you. He hasn't spoken, and you know that his profile has reduced ever since. He's a kind of political masterstroke, but he's a man that is never tired of
the drama.
Yes, of a trouble, of a stoking troubles. So he is cooking. It's only that we haven't heard from him. It's only that he has not yet delivered, but you can be sure that he is busy brewing some trouble somewhere, some appetite of trouble somewhere, or
trust him on that.
So, you say what?
I said we can trust him on that.
That's right. How soon he will deliver on that is what we do not know. But as it is now, it looks like Fubara joining APC ahead of him and declaring that he is the leader of APC in that state now. The ruling party has scored, yes, he has scored a master stroke against him. So it's completely a masterpiece. Probably he did not say anything. He was just rolling and doing as if everything was okay until he struck this what's it called, a blow. And it's almost like a deadly blow, a deadly punch from Anthony Joshua that smashed the jaws of what's it called, his opponent in the boxing. Yeah, and that guy is now saying that that fractured jaw. How biblical, saying, Lord.
I saw some headlines. Is it about the conspiracy theory from Andrew Tate?
You say what? No, all I'm saying, I'm just drawing a comparison between that and it's almost justified by the passage in the Psalms that talks of Lord, thou smiting my enemy. In their Job, what's it called? In their jaw bones, and then removing the teeth of evil people. I think that is what Simlaye Fubara has delivered against Wike so far.
Can we say his former boss at this point?
Well, probably.
We don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
We don't know how this is going to end. But I think the ruling party has what they want, and I do not think they want Jason Wike in their fold. That guy, wherever he goes with his basket of troubles, and so I do not think APC will want him. We want to welcome him as a member of their party.
So they at least need to clear the floor for him, whatever that looks like, if that ever happens.
It looks like Simlaye Fubara has hijacked the show from him. So far,
Yeah.
I may be wrong.
I don't see Fubara that way. Yeah.
Well, how do you see it then?
I see Fubara as puppet.
To who?
To forces that we don't fully understand.
Well, if you were in the jungle, say an African jungle like that, and you have been encircled by bloodthirsty lions or hyenas, what will you do? This guy was virtually blooded by.
So it was left with no choice. It was left with no choice.
This is it. But even in that, he is reinventing himself. He's almost proving to be the rising phoenix from his own ashes, political ashes. And now it looks like he's been able to cage the man that has always troubled the house of Israel, that is Nigeria, in politics. Yes, Wiki. This is the way I look at it. Is it for a season or is it for the long haul? That is what we must wait for. We must wait for the verdict of history on that.
Okay. All right. Let's do us a favor, please. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our final segments of the hour. Let's welcome back publisher, editor-in-chief, and High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun for our concluding section here. So, do you have a special for us today that you want to cover?
Not really. Just let's talk generally about everything Christmas and the seasonal celebration. Yes, but in all this, please understand that live your truth and do not strive to run anybody down or to cook up what has not happened in order to justify pre-existing notions and agenda in your mind. Because in the season of the celebration, these were the things that Jesus Christ came to destroy. I mean, for example, if you want to live a lie, your lie would always find you out. And don't take undue advantage of people. And when people have done well in your life, please, just be grateful. Instead of going around to say, oh, you are self-made. You know, that wrong notion that was always so prevalent during Victorian English age, which led to the rise of the nouveau. You know, nouveau rich people always say, oh, I'm self-made. I'm self-made. Is it that you didn't meet anybody?
No destiny helper.
This is it. They are always there. I've had the joy of being assisted by people in life. And since I started going through the challenge of not seeing, as I used to, I've had people, so many people, including you, Ola, and so many people. And you know what can be so painful when you stake your hard-earned money to create some pathways for people to settle down in this country or to come over, and then they come here, they tell everybody, oh, you've never really impacted anything. This is why doors are being shut against so many people out there, not just in Nigeria, all over the world, because you come, you create chaos everywhere, you destroy relationships, and then things that were never said by people, you go to them, you say, oh, these have been said about you, and those people too are so gullible and stupid, they can't call, oh, did you say this? No, don't let us destroy, don't let us foul this season for each other. And then again, in some towns and places now, I know people are celebrating all kinds of stuff, not even related with Christmas, not related with New Year celebration. It could be age grade thing that is called Izu Uche, in places like Osaga in Abia State or Ero in Usho, Ondo State, and elsewhere, Ifon, or wherever. People are just celebrating the fact that, we have moved, we have upgraded from being Ubamos, that is, young ones or youths that can be sent on errands to do community service, community work. Now we are elders, which is why we give a special shout out to Pastor Chris Abitogun, who is amongst the people that will be celebrating Ero. He must have found his way now from Dublin in Ireland to Nigeria. Yes,
congratulations to him.
And your dad too is part of that grade of people that are doing that. But I do not think he will be there physically. But in his heart, he's always grateful to God for each day that he lives, and we celebrate him. He's always been.
So what's the bracket age where they normally celebrate Ero?
Well, let me say that my father celebrated it when he was 61. Pastor Abitogun is well
he's almost
over
70.
He's almost, and your daddy is over 70. So
my dad is 72.
Yes. So this is, there is no clear-cut thing.
There's no clear-cut.
Yes, okay. But if you belong to the same, what's it called?
Contemporary
society, as contemporaries or generations.
Okay, generation.
You can fall within that. For example, back home within my club, the Heroes Club, my president was born 1968. I wasn't born that year, and so many other people that are older, like Fusho Adu and what have you. But we are still members of the same generation. We are friends, we are contemporaries, and we will do well when it gets to our turn too. So these things will be celebrated, but do not let us forget, as we celebrate all these things, that God is central to everything, and life is also so sacred to the extent that only those who have life celebrate.
Let me say this, Chief. You see, I think we're in very interesting times.
Right, sir.
And there's I'm not sure we know what to do with ourselves in the era that we're following. You're absolutely right that there's some things that used to be a certain way, used to, when it comes to so that Ali.
Yes.
But we also fall. We find ourselves within a generation of things are moving so fast.
Yes, the crossroads.
Yeah, a crossroad. Technology, social media, right?
That's right.
And social media is the greatest influencer of them all in the history of mankind. So even you might be married, you might be in a relationship with an older sibling, but they're expressing something to you. You have no idea where their influence is coming from. It used to be you can throw a stone, you know exactly where their influence is coming from. You know that, but that Dubo that they've been talking to. Yeah. But these days they are hanging out on TikTok, they're hanging out on live streams. You don't know what is influencing or informing their decision or their behavior. So I feel like we've all found ourselves within this environment, and there's only one thing I can think of, and that's patience.
What? Amen. I say amen to that, brother. Say amen to that. And
because you might end up fighting battles that you have no idea where this it used to be, it was principalities, powers from high places. But this day is technology. Technology is the principalities. If you just dig a little bit extra, you will hear certain things online. You're like, this is where they heard this kind of thing.
Yeah, you have to understand one thing: the amount of mind bending that takes place through the instrumentality of social media.
Yeah,
and cross-cultural interactions all over the world is so enormous. In fact, social media itself would not be able to understand itself. When it comes to the shaping of views, opinions, beliefs, and what are all kinds.
And confusion. It is a heightened level of confusion across the board.
This is it. And normalizing the abnormal.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
it's so mind numbing.
Yes.
So that said, you have seen what I'm wearing. I'm already in the mood for Christmas.
You're in the mood.
Yes, but not in a dirty way. I love the Lord of that celebration. I love the Lord of that celebration. I do not like all the exploitations around it. So for me, no dirty Christmas.
Yes. But
Just
aren't we so blessed to be able to
yes,
have this moment?
yes, we are.
I mean, it's been an
Yes,
interesting year, you know. So
yeah. And for me as a survivor in particular,
yeah,
that I'm
yeah,
still here, in
yeah,
spite of everything I've gone through, so
yeah.
much betrayals, so much love. Why some people are betraying,
Not
why some people
scared.
are yes, some people, I mean, much more people have been showing love and support. You know, a friend just showed up. No, not just showed up. Came to take me to church yesterday. In a long time, I've not been to church. Came to take me to church yesterday. After church, I mean, I was going to do my grocery shopping, and this guy and the wife did it all for me. When
Wow,
people,
that's a
such
blessing.
simple, the fact that I'm not wasting away in a corner of my room, you handle this production all the time. Ola, I can't even thank you enough. And there are people
Well
that had the
blessed.
opportunity. Yeah, some people will talk of, High Chief did this and that. I'm like, no, I've been consistent in things I promised, though I'm not a politician. How about people who said, oh, when we do things together, we will make sure we help, and then your stories will be published, things will be done. And then when it
Story.
comes to
Akoko.
story, I'm telling you,
I said Igbo people say
well,
akoko.
akuko means news in Igbo or story.
Story.
And when you say akukuwa, it means world news or world story. So this is the stuff.
Yeah, the thing is that, you know, we all, I believe that that we all we try our best. We want to do something great, but I think the human flaw is the human flaw, and sometimes it falls short, you know, because
And all about dirty Christmas. You know that
yeah,
the worst scammers they will approach you in the name of one deity or the other, in the name
and
of
now
Jesus
normal
Christ.
now.
And you see them, no earring, not this and that. And you feel like, oh, they can't be part of that Nigerian marriage scam that we have always heard of. They can't pretend to be the non-existent
Normal.
Nigerian princes without scammer,
Leave that
scam.
thing. You know, survivor.
So,
that's the bottom line for everybody.
so let us tap into the reality of this season, the advent of Jesus Christ, because he's been here once. The hope is that he will be back again. That is the advent, the second coming. And we hope that as he comes back, he's not going to be born like that innocent baby in the manger in Bethlehem.
No.
What the Bible has told us is that he's going to be coming with his vengeance to judge the world and all that. We hope it ends up being so.
You say we haven't seen enough vengeance yet. We haven't seen enough judging.
Well, it's an ongoing thing.
Things are happening.
Yes, but even when that judgment comes,
look at all these pastors scattering everywhere. They can't even keep their prick inside.
But they will tell you, touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. But these are people who are doing the people of God so much damage and so much harm.
The damages are great. Some people, you know, I was talking to some of the young men in my church yesterday, and I was telling them, you know, our ideologies, right? Just rounding up the ideologies in our head. A lot of them are dysfunctional. For example,
ideologies or convictions.
All of that, you know, all the stuff we grew up with, you know, especially like this example, particularly to those of us from Ekiti and Ondo State. You know, we're told to go to school and make sure you get your PhD, go all the way through. And if you had the resources, you would essentially ensure that you do that, even if you haven't taken the time to understand why you're doing it. Like a strong purpose behind it beyond just that's just what we do, you know. So there was this young man, I was talking to him, and he's doing his master's right after first degree. And I said, why are you doing that? Is somebody paying for it? Oh, he said, oh, half of it is paid for. I said, who's going to pay for the half of it? He said, it's just, I said, it's our parents. I told you before you started that make sure you get a job first. Once you're 18, go into the job market, and then you go to school for the rest of your life. Education is for the rest of your life. You don't.
It's a continuum.
It's a continuum.
Which is why this season also is apt to celebrate people like you, Ola Abitogun. I mean, the pioneers that I've seen.
But it doesn't sound sweet. Let me say this, sir. It doesn't sound sweet coming from me because I have a master's. So when I'm telling a young man that to calm down on that master stuff, he's thinking like, but you have a master's. I'm like, no, you're missing the point. That's my mistake. You don't need a master's that's not paid for by people you work for. You don't need it. It's useless.
Yes, which is why I'm so proud of people like you around me, my son, Cornelius Abitogun, and his siblings.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to him. They know how much a poor journalist like me can afford, and they just step up to that place.
Yes.
That we are just going to be on top of the game. And this is why, whether for our women in Abitogun family that are so strong, and women all over the world that are so strong, and all the men that are above average, this is your season. And I give you love.
Amen.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas. We'll be back sooner than you think. Thank you for being around. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We'll be back soon. Bye now.